Hi. If you've ever had moments in your life when you felt alone, even in a crowded room, then this video is for you. And I don't mean just lonely, but that deeper feeling of being alone that nobody can see from the outside. Maybe you've carried an emotional burden no one else knows about, or faced decisions with no one to turn to. Or maybe you've lost someone and it felt like everyone else went back to normal except you. If you've ever felt that way, stay with me today, because I'm going to introduce you to your spirit guides, who they are, why they're in your life, how they communicate with you, and how you can begin communicating back. And I'll share with you 4 signs that let you know you are not doing this life alone. And at the end of this video, I'm going to show you something so astounding it takes people's breath away when they see it. And it ties directly into everything we're talking about today. So, let's dive in. So, before I begin, there's something I want you to know. What we're stepping in today is not surface level. This is a teaching, a journey, an invitation into something most people have never understood. So before I share the signs, I'm going to give you a little foundation so that what you're about to hear actually lands in a meaningful way. So for most of my childhood and early adult years, I felt very alone, trying to make sense of life without any real emotional support behind me. But something happened 52 years ago that changed everything. I made an appointment with a woman named June Burke, a very respected and renowned deep trance medium. And I walked into that first session having no idea my entire understanding of life was about to shift. That was the day I was introduced to a being named Julian, a seraphim angelic presence who spoke through June with a love and a wisdom I had never experienced before. I was 25 and fascinated by past lives at the time, so I asked all kinds of questions about that, and Julian answered every one. But then when I finally paused, he asked me a question. He said, "Would you like to be introduced to your guides?" And I said, "Guides? I have guides?" And one by one, and there were 3 altogether, they introduced themselves, their names, why they were with me, and what they came to help me with in this lifetime. And here's what I never forgot. They were so absolutely thrilled that we had made this connection through Julian, because now I could know without doubt that they really did exist. They explained to me that most guides expect that they're going to walk with a human being for an entire lifetime without ever being recognized or acknowledged at all, and they know it's just part of the process. But to be known, to be consciously seen, it meant the world to them, because it meant I could finally understand that I had real, loving, intelligent support with me every day of my life. And from that day forward for the next 30 years, I asked for their counsel at the beginning of every session with Julian. And even more importantly, I have built a relationship with these 3 extraordinary beings who I know are always by my side. And I want you to know that you can have that too. So let's start with who your spirit guides actually are. So spirit guides are souls who have lived many human lifetimes. They know what it's like to be afraid, to doubt yourself, and to go through earthly challenges because they've lived it. And through those lifetimes, they've grown and evolved to the point where they no longer need to come back. And now they serve from the other side. And one of the ways they serve is by walking with you. They stay with you throughout your entire lifetime and never leave your side. There is nothing more important in their existence than you. They've known you before you were even born. Isn't that amazing? They knew you before you knew you. And your guides were chosen specifically for you. They know the exact blueprint your soul chose for this life, the growth, the challenges, the lessons, and your purpose. They know more about you than you could ever know. And their job is to gently guide you back to the remembrance of who you really are whenever your human self forgets. So let's talk about how they do that, how your guides actually guide you. There are many ways they communicate, but today I'm going to talk about 4 of them. So the first one is what I call redirection. This first sign is one you've experienced many times. You just didn't realize what it really was. Have you ever had a door closed that you really didn't want to close? A job you thought you wanted? A relationship you hoped would work? An opportunity that slipped through your fingers, but later on you could see the blessing behind it, and you look back now and think, oh, thank God that didn't happen. Or maybe a meeting gets canceled, a plan falls apart, the plane gets delayed, the timing keeps shifting, and in the moment it feels frustrating or unfair. But there's always a reason behind it, even if you don't see it until much later. So when that happens, something in your life is being redirected, not by force, not by interference, but by alignment. And here's what I mean by alignment. When something doesn't match what your soul intended for this lifetime, it simply won't hold together. The timing doesn't line up, the opportunity slips, the path feels heavy. Not because someone's blocking you, but because it's not part of your soul's blueprint. This is not what you wanted. And the reverse is true as well. When something is meant for you in this lifetime, it often stands out in a way you can't ignore. Like maybe a person keeps showing up, not once, but over and over in different situations, and eventually you fall in love. Or an opportunity keeps circling back to you even when you're not interested. No matter how much you push it away, it won't leave. And later you realize it was exactly the direction you needed. So when your human self and your soul are moving in the same direction, that's alignment. Things flow easily. It really is that simple. So know this, your guides don't close the door. Life does. But here's what you need to know. Your guides are not allowed to interfere with your free will. They cannot stop you from choosing a path you insist on taking, and they can't force you toward a path you aren't ready for. This is your human experience. You are the one living it. But they can nudge, they can get your attention, and they can help you feel the difference between something that's not right for you and something that genuinely fits your life. Now, the second sign is synchronicity. And these are the moments when something shows up at the exact right time and you know it wasn't random. It might be a conversation that answers a question you were wrestling with. It might be opening a book and landing on the exact message you needed that day. Or this happens to me a lot. You keep seeing the same theme showing up in different places. A podcast, a video, a coffee mug with a saying on it, a conversation with a friend, all pointing in the same direction. These synchronicities are not coincidences. They are reminders that you are being supported, guided, and pointed toward what matters. And the more aware you become, the more you will notice them not as accidents, but as evidence that you are being guided every step of the way. Now, this next one is so subtle that people overlook it every day, even though it's one of the clearest signs you're being supported. And this is sign number 3, where our guides also speak to us by shifting our emotional state. And here's what I mean. Have you ever had a time when you were feeling overwhelmed or anxious about something, and then without anything around you changing, within a few minutes, you felt calmer, clearer, or more settled, and you don't know why? You just feel better. Or a thought pops into your head of, you can handle this, or you're going to be all right. And that thought wasn't available to you 5 minutes ago. Or maybe you start to see a problem differently and suddenly an answer appears that never crossed your mind before. Here's what's happening. Your guides can feel your emotional energy, and they have the ability to interact with it by sending you frequencies and vibrations to your nervous system. And guess what? Your body feels that energy and responds to it long before your mind does. So when they send you clarity, a clearer thought comes to your mind. When they send you comfort, you feel a sense of relief. When they send you calmness, you feel less afraid, and you don't know why. So if you can start to notice when this happens, when you feel these subtle changes, you'll begin to recognize them for what they are. It's your guides steadying you emotionally, as well as letting you know you're not alone. They're with you. They're not overtaking you. They're loving you. And sign number 4. No one knows you better than your guides. And they know the symbols and objects that you love and that have meaning for you. So they use them in order to get your attention. For example, they know there's an old card in a particular drawer that will give you the words you need to hear today. So for some reason, you feel an urge to go open that drawer. Now you think you might be looking for something else, but there it is. There's the card, exactly what you needed. Or you're standing in front of your bookshelf, like I do a lot, and one title practically lifts itself out of the row like it's speaking to you directly. And that title is exactly what you needed to remember. Now that's my parrot, just in case you can hear her. That's Lily. So she'll probably stop in a minute. Now, most of us have our favorite objects, colors, numbers, and symbols. Well, for me, I love butterflies, especially the little yellow ones. So if something is weighing on me, if I'm wrestling with a decision or needing reassurance, it no longer surprises me when one of those little yellow butterflies suddenly crosses my path, especially when there are no other butterflies around but that one. Because my guides know what that symbol means to me. They know it opens my heart. So whether that butterfly was already on its way, or whether my guides nudged the timing just a bit, that moment is never an accident. And once again, it's their way of saying, see, we're here. You're not alone. So when your favorite symbol pops up in your life, especially when you need it, thank them for sending it. And by the way, I'd love to know what your favorite symbols are, just in case you'd like to tell me in the comments. Now, there are many other forms of communication from our guides, like dreams and intuition, and each of those deserve full videos of their own. But right now, I'd like to talk to you about something that has been very important to me and could be to you as well, and that is whether or not you'd like to have a relationship with your guides. And yes, you can have a relationship. So if you do, there are 2 things I would suggest you start with to build that connection. The first is very simple. Just recognize them. Say good morning to them when you wake up, or say hello in your mind while you're driving. It's your way of saying, I can't see you, but I know you're here. And I promise you, this means the world to them. The second way is to just talk to them. Ask them for clarity. Help me see this clearly. Ask for guidance. Show me what I need to know. Ask for support. Help me notice what matters. Guides love questions. You can even ask for a sign that they're with you. But here's the thing. When you ask, you need to believe the sign when you see it. Because if you ask and it is given, and you don't believe it, what kind of relationship is that? Start trusting them and start trusting you, that you are worthy and loved that much by the universe, by God, and by your guides to receive such incredible guidance. This is how you show up in this relationship. But what's important to remember is that the more you acknowledge them, the more you speak to them, the more you bring them into your daily life, the stronger the relationship becomes and the more real their presence has in your life. This isn't fantasy. It's called connection. And now for the moment I promised you. A few years ago, I heard about a woman in Australia, an extraordinary artist and psychic who could see the invisible beings that surround you, like your guides. I saw all of her website. I saw all of the paintings, and it was incredible. So I was fascinated. She had a 2 to 3 year waiting list, so I waited. And when she finally contacted me 2.5 later, she said, "Hi." And she introduced herself and said, "You're up. Are you still interested?" Well, I said, "Yes," immediately. So I spent an hour with her while she sketched, and she later spent several hours turning it into a portrait painting. And the only information I gave her were the names of my guides, nothing else. And when that painting arrived, she had placed my guides in the exact order they surround me, the same order I had known for decades because they don't leave their order. And she saw them, and she drew them exactly as they appeared. So now I'd love to show you. So here they are, my 3 guides: Singing Wind, Camille, and Remet. Wow, pretty cool, huh? Singing Wind, Camille, and Remet. Always remember, you are surrounded by beings who love you, who understand you, and who have walked with you since before you were born. Beings who know your soul, who know your blueprint, and who support you in ways you may never realize. But now that you know that, you can begin your own relationship with them in your own way, in your own time, and in whatever way feels most natural for you. Just acknowledge them, talk to them, ask for what you need, and notice what occurs in the next few days or weeks. You might be quite surprised, because they are with you at all times, doing their best to help you through life in any way they can, which means you have never been and will never be alone. And even if you're in your darkest moments, always remember they are there. So if this touched something in you, I'd love to hear from you in the comments because I read every word. And if you like this video, I think you'll like my video, Who Are You Really?, where I explore 5 truths about self-worth and who you are as a soul. So until our next meeting, remember that you're not alone in this world, not just because of your guides, but also because of me. Because one thing I know is that there really is no one worth knowing more than you.